Whether you are ready or not, the Blue Jackets have hockey this week, and we're going to talk about that on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and everything else of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we're going to talk about some hockey today. It's been a rough couple of weeks, so if you guys are not ready to think about hockey, that's totally fine. I get it. If you guys want to think about hockey instead of all of the sadness over the last couple of weeks, welcome on in. That's what I'm here for. So, like I said, we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day every single day. We're free and available on all podcast platforms. We're over on YouTube and on SiriusXM. I want to let you know that we're brought to you today by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. We're going to talk about prospects today. It's gonna feel a little bit weird talking about hockey like nothing else is going on, but we're gonna try our best. We're gonna see what we can do here, and hopefully give you guys a chance to kind of have a little bit of an escape from what has been happening in kind of the hockey world as a whole. So we're going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk about prospects. We're going to take a look at the roster. Couple of names missing that I was surprised to see missing. Couple of guys that I think need to have a big weekend up in Buffalo. And then a couple of guys that I think could potentially surprise some people. So let's go through the roster because it landed, I think, literally 3 hours before I decided to record today. A lot of returnees from the 2023 prospect tournament in Traverse City. They've got 10 returnees. They have, I believe, 8 invitees, and then everyone else is on under contract with the Blue Jackets or was drafted like the most recent draft. So in terms of forwards, they've got Sam Alfano. He's from the Erie Otters in the OHL. He is one of the invitees. Gavin Brindley, you guys all know him. Cameron Butler signed his ELC at the end of last season. Luca Del Bel Blues had his rookie season in the AHL this season. Pano Fimis, also from the Erie Otters, another invitee, as is Mail Levine from Victoriaville in the QMJHL. Said another invite. James Malatesta, a 2021 draft pick, just had his rookie season in the AHL as well. Max McHugh, a 2024 ELC, I believe like a free agent signing. He was with the London Knights last season. Hunter McCown, everyone knows. Hunter McCown was with the AHL last season. Tyler Peddle was with the QMJHL last season, was a 2023 draft pick. Luca Pinelli, another 2023 draft pick, was with the Ottawa 67s last season. Nicholas Sima, another invitee, was with the Saginaw Spirit of the OHL. And then Jack Von Volson is the last forward. Plays for the Mississauga Steelheads, another invitee. So I would assume that all of these guys who are invitees will also show up to training camp, although I know I might be making this up. I believe Don Waddell has said that he doesn't like to have big training camp rosters, typically, anywhere between 50 and 90 guys show up at a training camp. I would expect that to kind of be on the shorter side of things this training camp, just because of Don Waddell. But if any of these guys have a good camp, a good prospect tournament, then we could see them at Blue Jackets training camp as well, which I believe starts next week. So there's your forwards. Obviously, the notable missing player here is Caden Lindstrom. We'll talk about him in a minute here. But in terms of other prospect on this list, the defenseman, we've got Nolan Collins, who was an invitee. He was with the Sudbury Wolves. I forgot what the team name was there, but he was with Sudbury last season. Corsten Kuhlebans, 2021 draft pick, was with the Cleveland Monsters in the AHL last season. Nick DeAngelis is an invitee who was invited last season as well, actually. So clearly he has made a good impact on the team. He's an 04 born player, so I assume he is going to be in the area of potentially signing a free agent ELC contract, maybe at the end of this season. Again, getting invited back doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's probably a good sign, you know. Charlie Ellick, second round draft pick of the Blue Jackets, this most recent draft, spent the year with the Brandon Wheat Kings of the WHL. Luca Morelli of the Oshawa Generals, another 2024 draft pick. Denton Matejchuk, you all know him. 2022 draft pick. He's a guy that I think everyone is looking at to have just an absolutely monster tournament. And Connor Walton, who is an invitee, played with the Windsor Spitfires of the OHL this season. Goaltenders, we've got Evan Gardner, who was 2024 draft pick. Nolan Lalonde, a 2022 ELC signing, spent last season with Saginaw and the Erie Otters. And then Jacob Oster is the last goaltender there. He is an invitee, was with the Oshawa Generals of the OHL as well. So lots of OHL talent representing the Blue Jackets as invitees who are maybe hoping to get an invitation to training camp as it stands. All in all, it's not a bad looking roster, I think. Obviously, you've got the big names on there. You've got your Brindley, your Matejchuk, arguably like your Kuhlman, your Del Barbaluz, your Malatesta. A couple of names missing. Like Lindstrom is a name that is missing. Most notably, I was wondering if Melvin Strahl might be invited. I don't know if he's in the country yet. Obviously, he's moving from Sweden to the USHL this season. Going to be with the Youngstown Phantoms. Was a 2023 draft pick goaltender for the Blue Jackets. But all in all, I think this is going to be a fun and interesting roster. It feels weird to be excited about hockey, but this could be what I think the fans need. It could be what the team needs. You put on your skates, you go out there, and you play hockey. So, in terms of returnees, like I said, I think there's 10 returnees. Cameron Butler, Luca Del Belbaluz, James Malatesta, Hunter McCown, Tyler Peddle, Luca Pinelli, Corsten Kuhlebans, Nick DeAngelis, Denton Matejchuk, and Nolan Lalonde are all returnees. They all participated in 2023, back when the Blue Jackets were going to Traverse City, Michigan. If you haven't heard, they are going to be in Buffalo with the Penguins, the Sabres, the Senators, and one other team that I am forgetting, the Boston Bruins as well. And the New Jersey Devils. But the Blue Jackets are only going to play 3 games of the 6 teams that are there. So starts on Friday. They will get into town. Probably they're in town already. Actually, by the time I'm listening to this, they've got practice today on Thursday, and then Friday they're going to be playing the Buffalo Sabres. Saturday afternoon, the Boston Bruins. Day off Sunday, and then Monday afternoon, they're going to play the Ottawa Senators prospect. And they're going to be coached by Trent Vogelhuber, which is always exciting. You know how big a fan I am of him. And I think it's going to be a really interesting look at, and again, it's like, okay, of the guys that, like, they've got a handful of AHL guys here, but of the guys that, were just drafted, or the guys that haven't turned pro yet. So, I'm looking at guys like Pinelli. I'm looking at guys like Ellick. I'm looking at, guys like Evan Gardner in goal. I think it's going to be a really interesting tournament for them. It's a chance for them to kind of get their names out there in the organization. And I think it's tough to know. It's tough to say how they're going to do, because I feel like prospect tournaments are always kind of a bit up and down, depending on who brings who. Like, I know some teams will bring like a bunch of AHL and ECHL guys. Some teams will bring like basically all draft picks and invitees, but we'll see how it goes. In a minute, we're going to talk about, like I said, there's a handful of guys that are missing from this list. Caden Lindstrom's the biggest one, but there's a handful of other guys missing through no fault of their own. It's just that they are NCAA guys, and thus they are not eligible to play in the prospect camp, in the prospect tournament, excuse me, as far as I'm aware, anyway. So we'll take a quick break, and then when we get back, we'll take a look at who's missing, why that's not as big of a deal as it seems, and we'll go from there. So take a quick break, and that's what we'll talk about when we get back here on Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's talk about game time, because it's ramping up to the NHL season, and I'm going to be in California for the month of October. And my wife and I, we love to just kind of go to Sharks games randomly. If it is, for example, a Tuesday, we finish work, we're like, hey, we don't have anything on tonight, but the Sharks are in town, or the Sharks are playing. Let's go and see them. And I use Game Time for that because, quite frankly, it is better than any other ticketing service that I have used. And they've got a brand new feature called Game Time Picks, and it makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out the fluff and only shows you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They've got a bunch of other really great features that I love. They've got all-in pricing, which you can toggle this feature on, and it shows the total up front. There's no surprise fees at checkout, like, again, some other ticketing services that I could mention. Views from your seats, they've got their lowest price guarantee, which means if you find tickets in your section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and it's the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. I've also got to tell you about FanDuel, because you've heard us talk about FanDuel a lot. They're America's #1 sportsbook for a reason. We've got something a little different for you, though. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you're going to be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you're going to need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. You're not locked into a season-long subscription. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's double your winnings for all of Sunday, September 15th pre-game moneyline bet. Profit Boost is going to be starting today. Just view your account page now to learn more about your boost. Once again, go to FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Download the app. Win big with so little effort. I can't stress enough how easy it is to use FanDuel. And like I said, they're America's #1 sportsbook, and they're also our #1 sportsbook here at the Locked On Podcast Network. That's FanDuel.com. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're talking about the prospect tournament, and we're going to talk about some of the guys that are missing. Not through any like, oh, why aren't these guys here? What's going on? But obviously, Caden Lindstrom is kind of the biggest one here. He is still rehabbing his back injury from this season, I believe. I don't know whether he tweaked it training this summer or whether they're being super cautious or what. I'm not sure, but Lindstrom isn't going to be there. And then I believe almost everyone else is either an overseas player or is a college guy. So William Whitelaw will not be there because college. His season has already started. Same thing for Andrew Strathman, who's starting his freshman season at the University of North Dakota. Aiden Hreschuk is going to be at BC. Ricard Guillaume is going to be at Providence College. Handful of other guys. Oiva Keskinen isn't going to be there. He's overseas in Finland. His season has already started. Martin Rashavi, his season has already started in Czechia. Guys like Ben Saunderson, who was at the week after draft training camp, rookie camp, prospect camp thing. is dealing with a nagging injury. But apart from that, I think basically all of the big names are going to be there. Jordan Demey isn't going to be there, it sounds like, so I'm not sure what's going on with him, unless he also is still rehabbing an injury, or whether there's, again, I know that there was that DUI incident at the end of last season, so I don't know if there's something going on there. I assume not, just because of how this sport works. I don't know that they put a ton of emphasis on DUIs preventing you from playing hockey, but still more than enough exciting players happening here. So those are the guys that are kind of missing that I thought would be kind of the most notable. But in terms of notable guys that are there, I've already mentioned, Gavin Brindley, Luca Del Balbaluz, Luca Pinelli is one that I'm especially excited to see. Denton Matejchuk, I assume, will be wearing the C for the tournament. I'm excited to see Charlie Ellick, and Corson Kuhlewens is going to be an interesting one because I feel like he has really not fallen off, but he was a guy that people were kind of really excited about when he was drafted. And I think he's maybe been passed in the depth chart by, they drafted him in 2021. And then in 2022, they picked up Jiricek and Matejchuk with their 6th overall and 12th overall picks. And I wonder if Kuhlewens has kind of fallen a little bit by the wayside in terms of getting passed in the depth chart by guys like them. But lots and lots of exciting players, and we'll see how it goes. In terms of, like I said, guys that need to have a big weekend from this, I think Gavin Brindley is a really important player for this tournament. Obviously, he's coming in, not expecting, but he's coming in, I think, hoping for a roster spot. Obviously, it's a really awful way to kind of talk about it, but there is a roster spot open on the Blue Jackets now. Obviously, as well, losing Patrick Laine to Montreal, there was already going to be, an opportunity for Brindley to sneak in there with a top 6 roster spot. But I wonder if a big camp for him, or I keep saying camp, I know it's not a camp, a big tournament for him could be the difference between starting the season in Columbus and starting the season in Cleveland. Similarly, Denton Matejchuk, I think it's honestly, it might be his spot to lose in terms of what's going to happen with the extra spot on D. Bringing in Jordan Harris has kind of caused a little bit more of a current logjam on this team, but I think Denton Matejchuk might be one of those players that makes this team have to make really hard decisions in terms of man, we need to have you on the roster, but we can't cut anyone else. So what do we do? So those are two guys that I specifically am looking at to, like I said, have a big tournament. Del Balbaluz and Malatesta had their rookie season in the AHL this season. Del Balbaluz had 31 points in 58 games. Malatesta had 22 points in 56 games. They both made their NHL debut this season. Malatesta, 11 games, 4 points. And then Luca Del Balbaluz played the final game of the season and scored a goal in his debut, which is always fun, But those are two guys that I think are, again, looking to... James Malatesta was kind of a stealth pick for me in terms of depending on what the roster is going to look like to start the season. He's a guy that could kind of sneak his way onto this roster. I thought he didn't look out of place at all in the bottom 6 in the kind of, the dozen or so games that he played for the Blue Jackets. There's opportunity there for Malatesta, and I think if he comes in, he has a big prospect tournament, he has a big training camp, it could, again, be a case of, well, we're going to put you on the 4th line and see how it goes, rather than we're going to start you in Cleveland, but keep skating hard because you're the first guy that we're going to call. I think I'm going to be really interested as well in terms of goaltending. The Blue Jackets need to kind of try and figure out what they have with Nolan Lalonde and if that is anything. Because he, I think, struggled in the OHL this year. Won a lot of games on a very good Saginaw team, but didn't have the best kind of individual goalie numbers. the goalie pipeline in Columbus is weird right now. Obviously, it's kind of set. They have Merzlikins and Tarasov in Columbus. They've got Greaves and Sorchenko in Cleveland. And then they've got Pavel Chayan, and I'm assuming Nolan Lalonde will be kind of the third and fourth guys for the AHL. So at a certain point, they need to figure out kind of, okay, what do we have with Nolan Lalonde, and it's not unheard of that a guy comes to a prospect camp like this, or a prospect tournament. I don't know why I keep calling it a camp. I'm very sorry. Jack Greaves is a really great example of this. The Blue Jackets didn't have an eligible goalie for, I want to say, the 2021 Traverse City tournament. The only goalie that they had that was eligible was Daniil Tarasov, who was still in Russia at the time. So unable to make it. They ended up signing like 3 goalies, I think, just kind of randomly, Jack Greaves being one of them, and he ended up winning a spot in the Columbus organization. So, it's not unheard of that goalies show up to these things and suddenly become, oh, we need this guy to be here. I don't think that's going to happen with Lalonde. I'm intrigued by Jacob Oster, who is not a name that I know a lot about. But decent stats in the OHL this year, 35, 16, and 7 record, a 905 save percentage, GAA of 2.82. Going to be really interesting. Evan Gardner is the one I am the most excited about, I think. Oster intrigues me the most. Gardner is the one I am most excited about. He was a guy that in his draft year got sent back to AAA. Did not start the season. Or in his rookie season in the WHL, got sent back to AAA, got sent back to midget. And I think he took that personally. I think he worked really hard and decided, hey, I'm going to make this team if it kills me. And he did, in fact, do that. Was with the Saskatoon Blades last year, had a record of 21-5. In the playoffs, he had a record of 10-1-3, a 910 save percentage in the playoffs, and a 927 in the regular season. He was a guy that came in as the backup this season and played his way into a starting role for Saskatoon. And he's not the biggest guy around when it comes to goalie. 6'1", probably still has maybe a little bit of growing still to do, but definitely a guy that I am really, really interested in seeing play with, the likes of the first round draft picks, the guys that have been in the AHL for a season or a couple of seasons. Like, I'm really interested to see how he stacks up in not an NHL setting. You can see my air quotes at the bottom of the screen on YouTube, but like an NHL, a pseudo NHL setting. I think this prospect tournament is a really great way for players to come in and like get treated like it's the NHL. And I think that some guys really kind of rise to that occasion, and some guys, I think it shows that, okay, they need a little bit more seasoning, they need a little bit more time in the oven. So I'm really interested to see which way Evan Gardner goes. But I'm rooting for him. I'm a big fan of his. I like his game a lot. Like I said, kind of really just decided that he was going to be the Saskatoon Blades starting goalie this year and made it happen. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of really outplay the other 2 goalies in this situation. The Blue Jackets have 3 games, and 3 goalies. So I'd imagine each goalie will get a start in this game, or they'll do like, each goalie will get like 2 half games. So, goalie A will play half of game 1 and half of game 2. Goalie B will play half of game 2 and half of game 3, and then goalie C will play half of game 1 and half of game 3. We'll see. I don't know what the system is going to be. I trust Trent Vogelhuber to do good work at this tournament. And hopefully the Blue Jackets will have as much success here as they did at Traverse City, which I kind of joked at the time when they said, oh, we're not going to Traverse City anymore. And I was like, is it because they keep winning and the other teams have like collectively said, we don't want them here anymore? They keep winning. And then someone, a source was like, actually, that's not like super far away from the truth, which I do find very funny. So new set of prospect teams to play with. Some that are, quite highly rated rookies in rookie groupings, like prospect pools. I think New Jersey is one that specifically I think is pretty good in terms of prospect pool. The Senators have a decent amount of pieces, and then you have teams like the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins who have they've got their one or two guys, and then everyone else is kind of there. So I'll be really interested to see how the Blue Jackets babies kind of face off against the other teams. Again, just to clarify, they're going to be playing the Buffalo Sabres on Friday, the Boston Bruins on Saturday, and the Ottawa Senators on Monday. And I'm kind of excited to just watch hockey again. You know, we'll when the regular season starts, I think there'll be a lot of emotion. There'll be a lot of feelings there, and myself included in that. But I think it's going to be really nice to just kind of sit down and watch Blue Jackets hockey and just watch any hockey. Frankly, the season for me started here in the UK last weekend, and it was really nice to kind of go to the rink and see the guys and watch the game and kind of get back into that. So I'm expecting, this prospect tournament to kind of do a similar role in all of this, in terms of sometimes it's just nice to watch hockey. Obviously we're all still kind of thinking of the Gaudreaus, and it still feels weird to sit here and talk about hockey instead of talking about what happened. But like I said, if you guys aren't ready to listen to hockey talk yet, that's fine. I'm not going to be mad that if you guys don't come and watch the videos or listen to the podcast or engage on social media or anything. But if you guys want an escape, if you guys want to think about hockey instead of thinking about how sad all of this is, I'm going to be here every single day. Well, every single weekday for the rest of the month and on into the regular season. Before we finish up, I do have one more quick break to take, and then we'll wrap up here at Locked On Blue Jackets. I have got to talk to you about Indeed. We're all driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't actually to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. They are your matching and hiring platform. They've got over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. You can ditch the busy work. You don't have to use 3 different apps or softwares, or you don't have to do one thing on your phone and another thing on your email. You can use Indeed for everything: scheduling, screening, and messaging, so you can connect with candidates faster. And 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. So really, it's a no-brainer for me. I have been lucky enough to not have to job hunt for a while, but when I was job hunting, Indeed was the site I used. So I can only imagine it is just as good to use as a business owner as it is as someone who is looking for a job. So join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners to the show are going to get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. I just want to wrap up the show real quick here with just kind of, again, a reiteration of what is what's coming down the pipeline for the Blue Jackets. They have this prospect tournament starts on games start on the 13th, so Friday. They have a practice day on Thursday, and then they go through to Monday, the 16th of September. And then I believe training camp starts very shortly after that, although I wouldn't be surprised if actual regular training camp gets pushed back a couple of days. Obviously, as soon as we know anything, we will let all of you know. But I just want to kind of finish off by giving a shout out to you guys for, coming and listening and checking in. And, it's been a really tough couple of weeks. So I appreciate you guys, checking in. I appreciate you guys listening. I sometimes don't really feel like paying attention to hockey. So I appreciate the people that out there that do. So tomorrow we're going to do a little bit more kind of prospect tournament chatter. We'll likely have the leadership core named, and I'm hoping to talk to one or both of the boys over at Locked On NHL Prospect about a couple of the potentially the free agent invite, or potentially some guys that I think we all want to hear a little bit more about, like, for example, Denta Matejchuk, Gavin Brindley, etc. So hopefully we'll have that for you tomorrow. And we'll have recaps of all of the games coming out early next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, over on YouTube and on Sirius XM. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.